We'll call this meeting the Yuma Union High School District Number 70 Governing Board to order. If you'll all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence, Ms. Mellon will lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Thank you all for attending today. First item of business is the board member reports. Board members may have a discussion about conferences, visitations, legislation, special recognition, donations, etc. Does any board member have anything they would like to present at this time? I do. We had some legislation that occurred in the flurry of last-minute bills at the legislature before they sine-died, and I'm going to ask Ms. Thompson to, I know Mr. Patton was wanting to get ahead of this, but we're going to do it first. So, Ms. Thompson, would you explain what occurred in that flurry of last-minute budget negotiations?
Yes, thank you, President Townsend, governing board members. After a long time and a lot of work and a lot of people working together, which is how all good things happen, I am so proud to say and thank Governor Ducey and especially Senator Kerr. We have $16.5 million allocated out of the budget directly to Somerton High School in Somerton, Arizona for this fiscal year, and looking to $16.5 million the following year in order to accelerate the start of Somerton High School in the building and construction project. And I should, yeah. None of that would be possible if it weren't going all the way back to 2015 and the years planning for the 2015 bond from the Yes, Our High Schools, the community, the voters, the taxpayers. It's just a very long journey, and there isn't any one thing. It takes all things to work together and make things happen. But at the end of the day, this is all about the kids and specifically here, the students in Somerton. And just a reminder that 1,300 students plus have Somerton addresses and have always been transported from their community to a different high school. Right now, they're going to COFA primarily. So we are thrilled to be able to accelerate this project through our school facility board and really confidently go in. And it has always been my goal and my promise that every high school that we build is better than the high school before that because of everything that we learn and the product and the planning. So we look for our new Somerton High School project to get off to a great start. There will be more specific information coming, and we had a great meeting with Caitlin Harrier yesterday out of the governor's office. And I want to make sure that we thank not only all of our community, but those who are not even from Yuma, who believe in our students and know our unique situation with the numbers of students and the students that we serve, and including our migrant students that join us at different times in the year. So a lot of people learned a lot about Yuma and about Somerton, and I just couldn't be more excited to give the information. So I look forward to working with the governor's office and our press release through Eric Patton.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, anything else any board member has? Hearing none, we'll proceed. Next item of business is the superintendent's report. Ms. Thompson, once again, you're on stage.
Thank you. And actually, I'm going to call up our newest principal to be on stage. Welcome Steve Anderson, our newest principal. He is at COFA High School and has been around the district a little bit. So we've asked him to share about himself, and again, just couldn't be more proud, and thank you to the Yuma Sun for doing the feature on him. Thanks, Rachel. And so, Steve, thanks for being here tonight, and I'm not sure what entertainment you've prepared, but I thank you in advance.
I'm going to do a little dance for you. No, just kidding. I have a little speech, and then I do have gifts, actually. So, good evening, Superintendent Thompson, Associate Superintendents Mr. Brienza and Ms. Anderson, Board President Townsend and board members. Thank you for inviting me here tonight, and also thank you for the recommendation of principal for Kofa High School. I appreciate that. It's truly an honor, and I'm excited and proud of this opportunity. I'm very excited to continue to serve Yuma Union High School District, and especially Kofa High School. I'm here to share with you a little bit about my journey or my story here in Yuma. I moved here 20 years ago from Minnesota, don't you know? One extreme to the other, right? But I don't miss the cold and I don't miss shoveling snow. Love that heat. So I've had a wonderful career in this district, and I'm starting my 21st year, and I feel the experiences that I've had as a teacher, coach, instructional leader, assistant principal, and serving on many district committees along the way have prepared me or provided the tools to serve our students, families, and parents at Kofa High School. I was hired in 2001 and started my career at Cibola High School, where I spent 6 years there. I then moved on to Gila Ridge and spent a total of 13 years at Gila Ridge, with a 1-year kind of stop along the way at Yuma High School. So this is my 4th school that I've been at, so watch out, Vista and San Luis. Here I come. I've had many mentors along the way that have helped guide me and provide mentorship for me, and I would like to thank a few, along with several of you in this room. Thank you. Thank you over there, lady in red. I would also like to thank Tony Steen, Johnny Rico, and Garrick Monroe, who hired me back in the day from a career fair in downtown Minneapolis, and gave me the opportunity to teach in this district. Also, Jamie Sheldall, who was the first principal at Gila Ridge High School, gave me the opportunity as an instructional leader for the PE department to broaden my skills as a leader and get into leadership. Sean Weir, current principal, and Lillian Compa, a current assistant principal, who are wonderful mentors for me and lifelong friends. And Sean's like a brother to me, and I think he's provided the foundation for me too. He's probably been the toughest on me than any other employee, and I thank him for that publicly. Shelley Bauman and Vern Pint, who were my first department chairs at Cibola High School, who kind of gave me the idea that I could be a leader someday and get into leadership, just kind of inspired me, and really especially Mr. Vern Pint, longtime teacher in this district. I don't know if you know him, but he was just a wonderful mentor for me for my first few years of teaching, and just a great leader, and again, a lifelong friend, and I still talk to him to this day. He emails me regularly. I knew at an early age that I wanted to be a teacher and get into education, and I just knew. And my inspiration also came from my 4th grade teacher, Mr. Auer, kind of a unique name. But Mr. Auer was a role model, a wonderful teacher. He built relationships, positive, caring, friendly, professional relationships with his students and me. And everyone knew that. He was that involved teacher, cared about his kids. My parents also got to know him, and he was just a wonderful teacher and cared about his students. And again, everyone knew that. And that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be just like Mr. Auer, not just like Mike. Okay, I grew up in the 80s and 90s, right? Moving forward in this district and at Kofa, I want to continue with all the great things that Mr. Sharp has started and carried on at Kofa High School, and continue to serve Kofa High School and lead by example. Kofa is a great place. We have great teachers and great staff members that care about kids, they care about their job, and they care about each other. It's really like a family. And people want to be there, and that really inspires me, and it excites me, and I'm just as excited to start this year off as I was my first day of being a teacher back in the day at Cibola in 2001. So thank you again for this wonderful opportunity, and now I gotta have everyone say it. Come on. Once a king, always a king. And I also have a few gifts for you, which I'll probably never hear the end of it from maybe a certain individual up here. I have a Kofa Let your light shine, Steve Anderson pen. Don't worry. COFA funds weren't spent on it, Diane. We're good. No gift of public funds. And you can check that. And I also have I did this in my interview, and it's kind of like Ms. Thompson or Superintendent Thompson's, fire or inspire cards that she sends out. And it says, M&Ms make friends. Thanks for being magnificent and marvelous. So go ahead and put a 2. I actually put my name on them, all of them, but you can cross it out and put your name on all of them. If you want the blank copy, I'd be happy to email it to you. Or just do like I usually do, just take them and M's off and eat them. So I'm going to provide you with all one of those so you can brighten someone's day tomorrow or eat M&Ms on your way home. So thank you once again. Any questions for me? Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Well, thank you, Mr. Anderson. And we have another introduction this evening. Super excited about this one as well. We have our brand new Executive Director of Facilities and Maintenance with us this evening, Trevor Swenson. And I think he's started on Monday. Brand new to Yuma Union High School District, but not new to Yuma. So thank you, Trevor, for being here this evening, for joining our team, and just for being here to share about yourself a little bit this evening.
Okay, well, happy to be here. So I told my wife that I was going to be speaking at the board meeting for a minute. She said, well, don't try and be too charming or witty or anything, just be yourself. So my speech will be short and sweet. So yeah, I'm a Yuma native, born here, raised here, went to Ronald Reagan, Crane Junior High, and Cibola High School. So love Yuma, love the community, but I am brand new to the district. So yeah, Monday was my first day. So I'm just getting my feet wet, but I've really enjoyed it. It's been a great place to work. Met a lot of great people, a lot of great insight and help anytime I've needed it. So it's been great. I do have a background in plumbing, contracting, and construction. So I've been in the private sector doing that for about 20 years. So thankfully, much of that knowledge has been super useful as I've been getting to know the district and how things work. And so happy to be here, and thank you for having me.
President Townsend, that concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Ms. Thompson. Moving on, informational items, budget update, overview of the 2020-2021 Yuma Union High School District internal budget. Ms. Cordery.
Good evening. So we, if you're looking at the budget for the 2021 fiscal year, which you have before you, you see the current month says 100%. It's not entirely accurate. We still have what's called an encumbrance period. So we have July and August that we still can pay invoices and bills for anything that we have acquired through June 30th. So the numbers that you see before you when we have the final tally will be higher than what you have. But as of this point, through through July 1st, we have spent 81% of our M&O budget, so $65 million of our $80.5 million budget. And then for our capital, we have spent 16% of it, so $2 million of our $12.5 million. Again, like I say every month, that money is now actually very exciting because we've always had a plan to use that for Somerton, but now it seems like it's getting a lot closer. So we will have those funds there so we can buy desks and equipment and for athletics and all of those kinds of things. We'll be using those funds for that. Any questions?
Any board member have any questions or comments? Thank you very much.
All right.
Moving on. Next item. Let me me get to it here. Get through all those pages of budget. There we go. 3.2 Helios, Ready Now Yuma Scholars Report. Ms. Thompson.
Thank you. President Townsend and Governing Board, our journey with Helios Education Foundation has been a long, rewarding one for both entities. We've made an impact in countless number of lives of students, which project them into the community, specifically college, career, and community prepared. Because of Helios Education Foundation and the investment that they have chosen to make in Yuma Union High School District through Ready Now Yuma, we were able to continue our partnership, and I'm so grateful to Helios. They actually came to us with the aspect of the scholars awards for our students in our different high schools. And I thank Eric Patton specifically for working through this project, and Eric Brooks. And also I'd like to note that Vince Yanez out of the Helios Education Foundation has been instrumental in communicating with us and keeping Helios and Yuma Union High School District together and looking at continuing to change lives for out of Yuma County. With us tonight is virtual, and we really thank Grace for being with us this evening from the Helios Education Foundation, specifically to give us their report for our third year of investment, specifically in our students. Welcome, Grace. I hope you can hear us okay, and we look forward to hearing you.
Thank you, Superintendent Thompson. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much for having me virtually this evening. It's a pleasure to see everyone, and it's a pleasure to see that you're all in person. My name is Grace Smith-Cause, and I have the privilege of representing Helios Education Foundation. We're a philanthropic organization, and our goal is to help students go to college and complete a degree. Really, my favorite part of my job is being able to award scholarships to deserving students. This has not been an easy task with so many amazing applicants from the Yuma high schools each year. We received a record number of scholarship applications this year. I believe about 84, 85 applicants applied. Helios has collaborated for a number of years with the Yuma Union High School District. We have relationships with the community and strong partnerships with AWC and NAU in Yuma. As a result, we created the Helios Ready Now Yuma Scholarship. This is a full tuition scholarship for up to 4 years at one of the Arizona universities, or as is the case this year, a student attending a prestigious university out of state. This is the third year of this scholarship, and these students will be joining 12 other exceptional scholars from Yuma who are attending college across the state. We at Helios would like to thank Superintendent Gina Thompson, your principals, counselors, and teachers for encouraging students to apply. Very special thank you to Eric Patton for getting the word out each year and for really helping us surprise the students every year. It's such an amazing process, and we truly enjoy seeing their faces as they're surprised with this opportunity. As we all know, this class of students has faced unique circumstances and has shown their resilience and commitment to a bright future. We hope this scholarship provides some peace of mind for these students as they continue their education. We are all invested in these students and the success of these students. We know they have a bright future ahead of them, and I'd like to welcome everyone to congratulate these students. So I will list off the names of these students. I don't know if they're present or in attendance, but the first student is Marley Barker from Cibola High School, Jordan Bunty scores, we had a tie at Kofa High School. So there are two recipients this year, Montserrat, I hope I pronounced that name right, Cano, and Yolanda Wesley. Those are the two recipients from Kofa High School. We have Georgette Encinas from San Luis High School. And last but certainly not least, YUHSD Navarro Favela from Yuma High School. So again, please join me in congratulating these bright Helios Ready Now Yuma scholars. And thank you.
Thank you, Grace, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in Yuma when the weather is cooler and travel is plentiful.
I absolutely look forward to seeing everyone in person again. Thank you very much for having us.
Take care.
Thank you. I want to note the full potential value of each individual scholarship is up to $60,000
Yes.
per student. So these are very major scholarships. Thank you, Helios Foundation.
Thank you.
Any board members have any questions or comments? Moving on.
Thank you, Grace.
Thank you, Grace. Moving on. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. Moving on. 3.3, our safety officer report. Ms. Thompson, Mr. Brienza.
Thank you, President Townsend. We have our project manager for safety here this evening, Ryan Quick. She has presented before, and I continue to be grateful for her having joined our team right in the most important time that we could have ever met. So thank you, Ryan, for being here this evening. She's going to review from November 2020 through June 2021.
Good evening, everyone. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the work that I've done since my position was new to the district. So I'm the safety officer, focusing primarily on COVID and a few other projects as they came along. So a few things I've been doing for COVID was pretty much assisting all of our campuses in our district and all the different teams in ways that would improve safety. So for our health office staff, currently we're in progress to getting our nurses and the health office specialists N95 masks that are OSHA certified fit tested. So right now we have 8 out of 11 approved and working on getting the rest of those before the school year starts. For each of our health offices, we've been able to get all of them a HEPA air filter to improve air quality in the nurse's office, which is great because the isolation room is in there, so we want to keep that area as clean as we can. Been working on personal protective equipment guidance for the facility staff and their teams, working with Anthony on that. The mitigation measures for our staff and our students, and there's a lot of information that comes out from CDC, from the state, from our county, so just been working with different officials on making sure that we have the most up-to-date information, the appropriate mitigation measures for our campuses. So been working with that. It's really a team effort, a lot of the work that I do, working with the principals, the different vice principals, working with Mr. Patton, Mr. Brienza, Ms. Anderson. It's a lot of teamwork to make sure that we keep everyone safe. I love doing campus walkthroughs to assess our mitigation measures, so I like to be involved. I like to go see what's going on, ways that we can improve, being a fresh pair of eyes for our staff. Provided information to our staff for vaccine availability and testing opportunities. There's been a lot of questions, confusions as we navigated through COVID during the past semester and a half that I've been here. So I'm just trying to make sure that I can keep people up to date with current and accurate information. And then working with our supervisors and our campus administrators on quarantining, COVID-19 exposure situations, working with the coaches, making sure that we're handling all of these unique situations appropriately, and making sure that we're keeping everyone as safe as we can. Those situations take a lot of work, a lot of assessment, investigation, and just really making sure that we're being as cautious and appropriate as possible when handling those. Also been in charge of supervising the reporting of any known cases of COVID-19. So I personally do all the reporting for the staff. So if there's any positive staff members, the contact tracing for those that are exposed and reporting that to the health department, and then assisting the school nurses and administrators in reporting any positive students or exposed students through that contact tracing. And then maintaining those records, data charts, making sure that we know what's happening on each of our campuses and at a district-wide level so we can make appropriate decisions. I've also been working with different agencies in our county to make sure that we're providing adequate services. So been working with the Yuma County Public Health District almost weekly. I want to say hello to Ryan Butcher out there. He's been my go-to guy at the health department, and just making sure that we have all of the correct information, coordinating the vaccine clinic for our staff when that was happening last semester, working with the Yuma Regional Medical Center to make sure that we're giving out correct information on vaccine opportunities for students and their families. And then assisting in executing the goals, objectives, and priorities of our health services programs or our health offices. So I've been working a lot with our nurses and their health office specialists on improving the health office system. We have a great group of nurses and health office specialists that do a lot of amazing work. So I've just been trying to be someone that can help them get organized, make sure that we're using the same types of information, also making sure that we are getting their feedback frequently. So a few weeks ago I helped, last semester before the summer started, we held a focus group meeting with the nurses and health office specialists to assess their needs so that this school year we can start off strongly. Working on streamlining all their procedures and documents. So I've been working with BB Franzine on creating a Canvas page for the health office specialists so that way they have a centralized location for their documents. A lot of documents that they had were physical paper documents that they got from other nurses before them. So we just want to make sure that we have something that's centralized, localized, and that's available on the computer. And then also working on updating our standing orders to include EpiPens. And right now I'm currently in the process of securing 12 free EpiPens for our schools. And then also representing the district in collaborative community programs related to student health. So right now I'm participating in the Yuma County Against Drugs Coalition, participate in all types of COVID-19 meetings and webinars from the state, from CDC, from different organizations, the AIA, participated in the COVID-19 wastewater early detection meetings when we were doing our pilot program over at Gila Ridge, and then participating in the quarterly healthcare coalition meetings with other people in the county to make sure that we're on the same page and I can offer some insight on how we're doing things at the district. And then last but not least, coordinating department and district staff development, trainings, certifications, primarily working on improving our access to Narcan. So I worked with Hope Incorporated, which is an amazing organization here in town. We got 2 different Narcan trainings for our staff. And then working with the Blue Cross Blue Shield organization, so that way we could join their Mobilize AZ campaign. So right now we have a year-round virtual training on opiate overdose awareness and prevention training specific to schools. And that training has been converted to a Canvas course, so anyone in our district can take that training and take it as many times as they want. And I've secured 274 doses of free nasal Narcan for our district. So all of our campuses are fully stocked. Our warehouse has it. In these buildings here in the administration office, we have Narcan in all of our AED machines, so if there's an emergency, we should be prepared. And then I'll be working on assisting and facilitating the youth mental health first aid courses. I've been an instructor for over 2 years, so I'm excited to do that and get back to teaching a little bit. I always find that fun. So those are just some of the different things I've been doing. I just want to say I've enjoyed it. Working for a school district has been really eye-opening at all the amazing things that that happened to make this environment for students amazing and educational and exciting, and I've just really enjoyed it. So I just want to say thank you also. Any questions?
Any questions, comments? David?
Yes, I'm looking at the Work with Hope Incorporated to provide Narcan training for staff. Was that here on site?
That was virtual. So we
That
had a
was
virtual.
only. Okay. And that's the same thing with Blue Cross?
Yeah, so when we were working with Hope, the Blue Cross Blue Shield campaign hadn't started yet, but we had gotten some free Narcan, so I wanted to make sure that staff were up to date on how to use it, specifically like security. So we did that virtual training, and then we have the Blue Cross Blue Shield training that's going to be virtual online, but we still have access to Hope if we want to do anything in person.
When you say staff, is that everybody?
Yeah, so the staff, so all of the Narcan training is open to any staff members that works here for the school district. It's important for everyone to know, regardless if it's a student or an adult, that might overdose from an opiate.
Right. I mean, it just makes me a little nervous that somebody might have to save somebody's life, and it can be anybody from staff. With the COVID, everybody was worried about COVID, but I think they lost sight of the opioid overdose problem.
Yeah.
That's I think that's killed more
Opiates
students. Yeah, it's
has been increasing.
right.
Especially in this past year, it's increased 30%. Where I used to work before here, I was a medication-assisted treatment program manager, so I ran an opiate treatment recovery program for a clinic. So that's where I kind of got involved from my past experience, and making sure that everyone is trained in Narcan. It's an easy medication to use. Has been a personal priority for myself working here. So I just want to make sure that we're all ready in case a student, a coworker, a campus guest, you never know when a situation may arise. So that's why we're stocked and we're prepared.
Right. Nope. And that's good. That's good. It just worries me that staff might have to, under pressure, and
Yeah.
that's a big responsibility. I mean, I wish we didn't have to go through that, but it is what it is. But
Likewise.
so, opioid is not going to go away.
Not anytime
It's
soon.
not, right? Good job.
Thank you.
Ms. Kravitz?
Thank you so much, Ryan. I appreciate all the work that you've done in the semester and a half that you said that you've been working with us to keep our staff and our students safe. It's really important that we are able as a district to pivot from a pandemic to everyday worries and in our operations. So my questions to you relate to communication to our stakeholders and our students and our parents. And what is the easiest, best way for you to get your message through to our three major groups, which would be students, stakeholders, parents, and staff?
I've been working with Mr. Patton a lot on any communications. We work together to make sure that we're using the right channels and that the information is clear for all of our campuses. And then working with other team leads to make sure that they get the information that they can pass to their staff when they're having different types of meetings or activities and whatnot. I try to be as available as I can. Anyone can give me a call, shoot me an email. I try to really focus on my communication and being able to respond as soon as I can.
So do parents have access to you, or do you relate to parents,
So
or
I
is that
don't
outside of your
work
purview?
with parents
Okay.
directly, but I can work with admin to make sure that we're getting the right information that they may
Gotcha.
need.
Thank you. And then my second question is about the nursing offices. Again, pivoting from a pandemic to just normal everyday life. We have students who would need EpiPens. We have students who would need sugar control, glucose. Are our nursing offices stocked for all of these and the Narcan? I mean, is it?
So Narcan, yes, we have a lot.
Right.
And then EpiPens were not. So we had found out that the EpiPens we had just recently expired. So we found a way to get some for free because they're pretty expensive. They're around $600 a pen. So we're getting 2 per campus. Other than that, the nurses have been doing a good job at expressing their needs and concerns. A new one was cough drops. So we got cough drops on our standing orders as something that we can give out. But as we go through working with the nurse's office, we're going to be meeting twice a month to make sure that we're getting any information from them. I'm going to work on getting them access to free trainings to make sure that they're up to date on certain types of practices. But our nurses' offices we have really awesome staff. So we're working together on making sure that we can improve. And by meeting twice a month, I think we're going to reach the goals that they have set. But our nurses' office are pretty well stocked.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Very informative. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, moving on. 3.4 Mitigation Plan 2021-22. Ms. Thompson, Mr. Brienza.
Thank you, President Townsend. I would ask Tim Brienza to present on this subject this evening.
All right. Thank you, Superintendent Thompson. This information I'm going to be presenting today to the board. I just want to say I want to thank Ryan Quick for helping out with this, and also Mr. Eric Patton. It's been a very quick 8 months for Ryan Quick, but she's done a lot in that time, and also become very knowledgeable and informative when it comes to revising our mitigation plan for the upcoming school year. And this is information that should inform you for the action item 6.5 a little bit later. I am going to ask Ms. Olivas to help me out because I don't have a clicker. So on the very first slide, just to inform everybody, our countywide data is still presented by the state of Arizona every Thursday, roughly 9 o'clock. It goes up. As a county, we're doing wonderful things, mitigating the spread, doing social distancing, whatever we need to do. Our numbers are very low, and we hope that they stay there. But by continuing in the mitigation plan, Ms. Olivas, next slide, we have some things in place that will hopefully help keep our schools as safe as possible and allow for in-person learning throughout the whole year successfully, and also activities, athletics, and just more a return to learning that we've experienced in the past. Waivers will still be needed by every individual coming to campus, so there's a student waiver for taking classes on campus. If you want to be involved in extracurricular activities, then there's that waiver as well that will have to be signed by parents to allow their child to participate, whether it's in a club activity, band, choir, drama, or athletics. That waiver has to be signed, or even in graduation ceremony, we need extracurricular waivers. And then any guest or visitor to our campus would have to sign a guest or visitor waiver, which, as we open up our facilities for outside rentals, that is a waiver that everyone attending activities for that rental would have to sign a visitor waiver. These waivers are available on the school website. We're going to push them out through Synergy for parents to sign digitally, and we'll also have paper copies, and they can be available through Blue Ink, very similar to last year's process. The cleaning measures we have in place, CDC recommends that we can return to regular cleaning procedures, but as a district, we're going to continue the cleaning procedures we have put in place for this last year and a half, which means that our facilities team, which is very well trained and versed, they'll continue doing high-touch services more frequently, and also high traffic areas as well. All classrooms will continue to have the EPA enlisted disinfectant that students and staff can use to clean learning spaces and desks as they feel fit and needed. And also, if there is a report of a positive student or just a student that's not feeling well, we do have our COVID-19 deep cleaning protocol that's still in place for that area to be cleaned as soon as we can get in there, which as soon as the information is given, classes are moved, and then the team goes in and cleans. Any questions so far?
I have a question.
Yes.
Who gets to oversee the waiver collection?
Each campus has the waivers that they collect, so ultimately it's going to be the principal. The athletic waivers, or extracurricular waivers, are actually in Synergy and scanned in. Same thing with the student waivers for learning. So all that's housed electronically. So if we need to go back and look at them 5 years from now, they'd still be there electronically.
Okay, so the school is responsible for the people that are at that school?
Yes.
Okay.
It's site-based, and just like at district, it's district-based if they come to district office. So each area has their own, and we, like I said, scan them into the student's Synergy file, so that way they're there for prosperity if we need to go back 5 years, 7 years to research it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Masks are optional on any YUHSD property unless certain programming may require it, and that's up to that certain programming. And that may be, for example, if you are in a clinical nursing program for CNA and you're out in a healthcare facility, that healthcare facility may require the students and staff working there wearing them, but it's up to an individual whether or not they want to wear face coverings, and they can bring their own if needed. If the CDC, we still have recommendations from them that are in place, but it's all up to the family and personal choice. New state law does make it so that a district governing board may not require the use of face coverings by students or staff during school hours and on school property. When we do travel, which we will be doing this year, if we are traveling to California, for example, and their school districts may have rules in place that require masks on their property, we would have to, of course, abide by their rules. But for our YUHSD and the state of Arizona governing boards can't make it mandatory during the school day. Social distancing, that's something that we would encourage everyone to obviously continue, but as we know, as we go back to in-person learning, the old 6 feet is not going to be possible. Maybe 3 feet, but when possible, we will social distance. But the activities itself in classrooms, we're going to encourage people to be very thoughtful of the activities, whether it's labs for science classes or CTE labs, group learning, desks facing the same direction. That's going to be up to the teacher discretion and the campuses, but we are going to encourage that the practices be put in place so everyone is as safe as possible. Signage will be, once again, on campus talking about their hygiene practices and how to prevent the spread of COVID, and we will have a hand sanitizer available all over our facilities. As Ms. Quick stated earlier, she still continues to monitor and report data to the Yuma County Public Health District, and we are always looking at our state and county data just to inform our decisions, as well as CDC recommendations on what might be best practices. And that is our slimmed down mitigation plan from last year for this upcoming year, which I don't know if there's any further questions.
Any further questions for Ms. Brienza? Jackie?
Mm-hmm. No, that's fine.
My question is just for the general public, what policies have changed in our cafeterias, in our lunchrooms where our students eat? Is there anything that's going to be different this year than years past, or is it just based on the site again?
It's based on the site and the lunches. Like I do know campuses have well, not all campuses, but most of the campuses have more seating than in years past. Which will, San Luis, for example, I'll draw them out, sorry, Principal Arviso, but they've, just before COVID hit, the pandemic, they had ordered many more lunch tables and shade structures just to facilitate spacing out students. But at the same time, our director, Grace Pruitt, she's also ordered scanners for all IDs, which is something we were not using for free and reduced lunch, and since we're 100% free, our students would not have to enter well, normally they wouldn't scan their IDs. They would just touch on a keypad their ID numbers, but we have scanners so students can scan their IDs as opposed to touching surfaces. So that would be the big change. For the most part, it's back to regular school, but we will be cleaning with different disinfectants in between lunches and during lunches as needed.
Mr. Lar, you had a question? No. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Brienza. Moving on, item 3.5, Education Innovation Research. Ms. Thompson.
Thank you, President Townsend, governing board members. I'd like to ask Mike Sharp, our new director of strategic projects, to come forward. He has a guest with us tonight, and he's going to be talking about the education innovation research and the innovation partnership that we have, and the benefit that goes directly to our students. So thank you in your new role, Mr. Sharp, and we look forward to your presentation this evening.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Thompson, President Townsend, board members.
Yuma Union High School District has had a very long-lasting relationship and partnership with the Center for the Future of Education, or CFA. You might remember such programs as Beat the Odds. You might have heard of those. You might have heard of Move On We're Ready. CFA has assisted us with the implementation of the Cambridge curriculum. A year and a half ago, we started work with KnowledgeWorks with personalized learning. Again, that was made possible with our relationship with CFA. So CFA is very near and dear to us. In 2019, CFA was awarded a 5-year Education, Innovation, and Research grant for a project that was titled Career Connected Pathways, and that was through the United States Department of Education. Because of our relationship with CFA, we're able to provide opportunities for our students in the areas of computer science as well as cybersecurity. So I have asked the project manager of the Career Connected Pathways Education, Innovation, and Research grant to come in and give us an overview of the project. And her name is Melanie Baca, and she's the project manager.
Thanks, Mike. And thanks to you all. Good evening. Really appreciate being here in person. Nice to meet everybody and share something about this project. Like Mike said, my name's Melanie Baca, and I am the project manager on the mouthful U.S. Department of Education, Innovation, Research Grant Project, EIR for short. And we've titled that Career Connected Pathways, or CCP for short. It's sponsored by the Center for the Future of Arizona, which you do have a long-standing relationship with, and hopefully this just continues that relationship. The Career Connected Pathways project is nested inside the larger Pathways to Prosperity work that's guided by the directors and authors of this grant project, Dr. Aaron Ball and Cindy Irwin, and also part of CFA's Stronger Together campaign. So thank you again for this opportunity to share a high-level overview of the work we will be doing with Yuma Union High School District as an EIR Career Connected Pathways partner. I've provided you some handouts, as well as Mike has shared some background information to describe in more detail the project components, but I'll just pull out some highlights from that information. Career Connected Pathways focuses on increasing underrepresented student enrollment in dual credit courses and industry credentialing that lead to careers in STEM and specifically computer science and cybersecurity careers. So why are we focusing on dual credit? Research shows that college acceleration opportunities like dual enrollment provide students a wide range of benefits that include an increased college and career-going identity. And why are we focusing so much on computer science and cybersecurity? So recently there was a publication titled A Guide to Arizona's Workforce System, Roadmap to 2024, Next Gen Talent. And in that report, one of the 5 industries that were highlighted was information technology, which computer science and cybersecurity are part of. And they are deemed an in-demand industry in Arizona with high wages, high growth, and high entry-level opportunities. And these all contribute to the stability of Arizona's economy, as well as Yuma's economy, because IT supports every other business. So these in-demand jobs require knowledge in computers, skills in reading, listening, communication, and critical thinking, and abilities like oral and written comprehension and problem solving. So Career Connected Pathways is really focused on skill building in these high demand areas through dual credit attainment in math, English, and computer science. So IT is seen as not only a career pathway, but also as a critical skill building opportunity, because all industries need knowledge, skills, and ability in IT. So in this project, participants will address 3 critical barriers to increasing student enrollment and attainment in computer science, cybersecurity, college, and career pathways. And we will do this by 3 things: relationship, rigor, and relevance. So relationship, We'll have frequent collaboration opportunities across the system, across high school, post-secondary, community college systems, and industry to facilitate better cooperation. Rigor, increasing student motivation, access, enrollment, support, persistence, and attainment in college and career opportunities, specifically in the IT industry. Relevance, providing teachers, students, and their families information they need to make sound decisions about computer science and cybersecurity career opportunities. So 2 high schools have been selected to be EIR partners, Cibola High School and Kofa High School, and they would begin their partnership this fall in 2021-2022. So during the 3-year partnership, our focus will be on connection, curriculum, collaboration, and evaluation across the high school and community college ecosystems. So the high schools, and more critically, Arizona Western College, because we're looking at this as a regional approach, will regularly collaborate, co-design access to dual credit curriculum, co-deliver support that helps bridge the gap between the distinct cultures of high school and college, and attach meaningful positive measures to demonstrations of successful student learning in these skills. So each school that participates, so Kofa and Cibola, will receive an annual $10,000 implementation fee to offset any additional time or costs associated with the implementation of the project initiatives. So over the 3 years, each school receives a total of $30,000, so the district receives a $60,000 payment. So on the last page of the handouts I provided, there's a logic model that describes the 3 sets of activities that make up the sum of the intervention being evaluated, because this is a research grant. So both educators and students will explore questions focused on identity development, such as, who am I? How do I belong in my community? And what values guide who I am becoming? And these activities span across the 10th to 12th grade years and include a career-connected toolkit that's already been developed with curated activities, a co-advising framework that provides 5 areas of collaboration across the secondary, post-secondary, and industry ecosystem, and a near-peer mentoring model. So students will regularly explore their college and career-going identity, specifically in computer science and cybersecurity, through exploration activities in the 10th grade, peer mentoring in the 11th grade, and continued dual credit support in the 12th grade. Educators will regularly meet to co-design, co-deliver, and co-validate student college and career and high school experiences, creating high school, college, and industry partnerships to increase post-secondary success. So career-connected pathways is really a theory of action. It's high-quality career information and advising frameworks, models, and resources will increase the number of students, especially underrepresented students. So those are students of color and women that aren't typically seen in the IT industry, who enter and persist in dual credit courses that prepare students to launch careers in those sectors. So the long-term outcomes that we'll be measuring in this project include dual credit attainment, graduation attainment, and increased knowledge, skills, and interest in computer science and cybersecurity by students and educators. So again, I want to thank you so much for this opportunity to share the work that we'll be doing together with the Yuma Union High School team. And I'd be happy to clarify any of this immense information or answer any questions.
Board member have any questions?
Sounds good.
Sounds very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Item 4, call to the public. Any person wishing to speak may present the information at this time only. All presentations are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes and a maximum of 15 minutes on each subject. Before you begin to speak, please identify yourself by clearly stating for the record your name. Comments by members of the governing board in response to any public comment will be limited to asking staff to review the matter or requesting rescheduling of the matter for further consideration at a later date. Basically, what this means is because most the time, generally, things brought up in the call to the public are not agenda items, so we can't respond. So I have one person that's so far requested to speak, Jackie Grosset? Yes.
Hi, my name is Jackie Grosset, and I just have a question for the school board. I guess there was a meeting, a presentation at your last school board meeting that presented, and it was labeled the 200 Spaces of Equity, and I wondered if that was followed through and put through in the school curriculum. I did a little bit of research, and I looked on the website under the Center for Urban Education and Leadership and the Center for Urban Education.org, and I was looking at some of the verbiage of it, and it had a question to me that it said it used words like social justice, educational opportunities, whiteness as property, bias, and systemic racism. Even though it was labeled 200 Spaces of Equity, it sort of sounds to me like critical race theory. So I'm wondering if the board really paid attention and put a little bit more effort into it before a decision. I did look to see if anything was addressed in some meetings, but I couldn't find it in your minutes.
Okay, because you've got some misinformation, I can address a little bit of that. First off, that is not a curriculum.
Okay.
There is no curriculum 200 Spaces of Equity. So that's just a miscommunication. Or you can go on the website at our last meeting, and that presentation is on there. So you can look at that. Ms. Thompson?
Thank you, and thank you for the question. I do appreciate being able to address it, and I believe legally we can respond because we're correcting misinformation. It was never meant to be a curricular piece. We're very proud of the fact that anyone and everyone in our district has opportunity for equity of experience. Unfortunately, we're at a time in our history where words are misrepresented or taken out of into a different context. So I really am very proud of the presentation, and I hope that you have time to look at the presentation. If you have any problems seeing it online, please do contact me. I'll be happy to get that to you. But it is not part of a curriculum. It is celebrating that Yuma Union is growing our own, that we are represented gender, and growing our own students to become part of our own district and our own leadership. And we believe that Yuma County has the best of all talent, and we really want to keep our talent here and continue to develop that. So it was never meant to be a curriculum issue. I am familiar with some of the other terms that you mentioned, but none of that is part of Yuma Union High School District.
Okay, that's the only card I had. Is there any other person that wanted to address the board? If not, we'll move on. Thank you very much. Consent items. Adoption of items of routine nature and those that normally do not require deliberations on the part of the governing board. A board member may pull items which will be discussed and voted on separately. Is there a motion to adopt the consent items?
So move.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Gonzalez, seconded by Ms. Mellon to adopt the consent items. Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Moving on to the action items. 6.1, consideration to accept donations. I will read them. To Cibola High School, Miss Amanda Pruitt donated 2 black caps and gowns to Cibola High School. The estimated value of the donation is $100. To Gila Ridge High School, McCarthy Building Companies Incorporated donated breakfast burritos to the Gila Ridge High School teachers for Teacher Appreciation Day. The estimated value of the donation is $400. Wheezy's Grill and Sports Bar donated 100 prepackaged lunches to the Gila Ridge High School teachers for Teacher Appreciation. The estimated value of this donation is $1,000. James and Renee Sheldall donated lunch to the Gila Ridge High School English Modern Language Department. Estimated value of this donation is $255. Miss Vicky Artisana, NAU Yuma, donated vernier probes and sensors to Gila Ridge High School to be used by all science classes. Estimated value of the donation is $2,054. To San Luis High School, Mr. Justin Hale, who we recognized last month, from 4th Avenue Gym, donated a scoreboard to San Luis High School for the soccer field. The estimated value of the donation is $15,640.63. The Mariachi Booster Club donated 20 black and white mariachi pras to San Luis High School. The estimated donation is valued at $3,800. Ms. Lourdes Aranda donated 35 books to the San Luis High School Library. Estimated value of the donation is $400. To Vista High School, Yuma Southwest Contractors Association donated $2,782 to Vista High School to be used for improvements to the campus garden. It is recommended that the governing board accept the above listed donations. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, accept the above listed donations with thanks.
Motion made by Ms. Kravitz and seconded by Mr. Lara that the governing board accept the above listed donations with thanks. Is there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.2, consideration to approve the collaborative IGA for avid tutors. It is recommended that the governing board approve the collaborative intergovernmental agreement for avid tutors with Yuma Elementary School District Number 1. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the collaborative intergovernmental agreement for avid tutors with Yuma Elementary School District 1.
Motion made by Ms. Kravitz, seconded by Mr. Lara, to approve the collaborative intergovernmental agreement for avid tutors with the Yuma Elementary School District 1. Ms. Thompson, did you want to add anything further? There was a lot of information there.
We're just so thankful. We're one of the only districts that I know of that have been able to continue in partnership with District 1, that we continue to promote and provide tutoring through our AVID programming, and really want to thank Crystal Buckley for her relentless, tireless work in keeping this going. She really does the coordination, as well as our partners, District 1. It takes both districts to do this, and ultimately it is a direct influence and impact upon our students in the classroom.
Any questions or comments or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.3, consideration to approve cell tower lease extension and the related resolution and consent affidavit. It is recommended that the governing board approve the attached lease extension for the cell tower that is located on the Vista South property and approve the resolution and consent affidavit to authorize Diane Cordery to execute the agreement. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the attached lease extension for the cell tower that is located on the Vista South property and approve the resolution and consent affidavit to authorize Diane Cordery to execute the agreement.
Motion made by Ms. Mellon and second by Mr. Lara to approve the attached lease extension for the cell tower that is located on the Vista South property and approve the resolution and consent affidavit to authorize Diane Cordery to execute the agreement. Ms. Thompson, Ms. Cordery, do you need to add anything to this? Okay. Hearing any questions or comments, discussion? Proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.4, consideration to approve the revised job description for homebound teacher. It is recommended that the governing board approve the revised job description for homebound teacher. Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. No, after you.
Why break a,
No, you should
Mr.
keep on
Lara,
going.
you've been second on every one of them. Well, let's keep it going.
I agree.
Okay. Motion made by Mr. Gonzalez, second by Mr. Lara, to approve the revised job description for homebound teacher. Is there any questions or discussion? Ms. Thompson, do you need to add anything?
No, the change is, I mean, this has been an ongoing position that we've had in our district for many years. But you can see in the second paragraph of the background information, we're asking the board to approve moving from a valid special education certificate, which is very limiting, to a valid teaching certificate, so that we can adequately fulfill and fill this position for our students who are specifically working only at home. Ms.
Yeah.
Anderson, do you have anything that I missed on that?
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.5, discussion and possible action to approve superintendent recommendation for in-person instruction for the school year 2021-22. Action is deemed appropriate by the governing board. I think you all read this. It was in your packet. What is your pleasure? Do we want to adopt the superintendent's recommendation, or does somebody have something else?
Can we ask a question?
Yes.
May I?
This is action deemed as appropriate, so we can do what we want.
Perfect. Oh, I like that. My question is, it mentions in here the start time, but it didn't mention the end time. So I just wanted to clarify what our end time for the day would be.
And actually, hope I did both. Yes, San Luis is on a little different time schedule. So the end time would be 2:45 and 2:30.
Okay, so back to the way that it was. Okay,
yes,
thank you.
the traditional schedule.
Yes. Yeah,
Just
pretty
wanted
much
to
this is
clarify.
putting us back on traditional schedules.
And I do want to clarify, even though the question wasn't asked, but I know that people do go back and review our meetings and hopefully are attending. We know that this is still a delicate time for some of our families. We do have an online high school that families can choose and still be a part of Yuma Union High School District and receive all those same courtesies and all of the counseling, et cetera, that you would normally receive, and be a member of our district. And that's through Yuma Online Distance Academy. And most people refer to it as YODA. So it isn't that we don't have any online programming. It's just that your school would be YODA if you need an online option still. And we want to continue keeping our students in Yuma Union so that they do not have to withdraw and go find another online organization. They can still be directly involved with our district. That's a 7th high school currently in our district, so it's part of your transcript. It's all part of who we are. It's just that it operates under Mesa Distance Learning umbrella.
Ms. Kravitz, you had a question?
Just to clarify about YODA, if a student chooses to utilize YODA and they get to utilize the services, they can still participate in their homeschool athletics and clubs, correct?
Yes.
And they also, are they entitled to meals?
Mr. Brands, I think that they can go through the drive-through services if we're providing that.
Yeah, if drive-through services are provided, then they're able to obtain meals as well during mealtime, which would be, well, it depends upon the campus on their exact meals.
And we have, over the course of the pandemic, we were able to have YODA students go to their home school or Vista. So we haven't quite got that far yet. That's a great question to keep on our radar, that we would make sure that we were attentive to that.
Okay, and last part of my question, thank you for answering that, is do we get to keep them in our count if they're in YODA?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and the grades go directly on our transcript. It is essentially our 7th high school. It's just not our teachers. So just to be clear, if a student is in their home school attending and they need to be gone, it would just be this, the same as usual. They could access their Canvas courses. Teachers will continue to keep lessons on Canvas because that is our learning management system. Even pre-pandemic, it's just we got really, really good at it during COVID. So students would still access their lessons as the teacher assigns. So it's just that if you only want online, the way to do that now is to meet with your counselor and enroll in YODA.
Because the hybrid model is being sunsetted.
Correct.
Okay.
We will not return to a hybrid model.
Thank you.
And I suppose I should add that in there with my recommendation. We're still in a very interesting time, right? And nobody can predict the future. As much as I appreciate the fact that we did the hybrid model and we believed in and know that at that time it was the best for our students as we were transitioning into the virtual reality. But if something happened and we did need to shut a campus or a district or whatever, we will only do virtual. We will not be returning to a hybrid model if my recommendation were to be upheld. So we have YODA, we have on-site, and we know also that our students have been role models for the rest of the world, quite frankly, and adults. Our students have been extremely kind, cautious, and just wonderful stewards of their own learning. And that includes when they came to summer programming, when we returned to on-site instruction. We just did not have any problems with our students at all. And I continue to celebrate that students are the win. They're the victory. They are the ones that are truly the champions. So if we stay out of their way and let them act as they have been acting, we'll be just fine.
Mr. Lauder, you had a question?
I'm just curious here, so if they decide to stick with YODA and it's online, you mentioned it's like a different high school, that means when they graduate, they choose what high school they graduate
No,
from?
they would still go back to their home school,
Okay.
whatever their home school may have been.
I got you. Okay.
And they could even stay. We have students that take classes in YODA and at their home school because of their family situation or their work situation, or they want to get ahead, or they're recouping some kind of credit. It looks like maybe Ms. Anderson wants to chime in.
And a student is still enrolled in Yuma Union High School District. So once they enroll, then when they're meeting with their counselor, instead of the typical traditional 6-period day at that campus, they would choose YODA, but they're still on that school's roster. That's their home school.
Any other questions? Is there a motion?
I'd like to move that we, the governing board, approve the superintendent's recommendation for in-person instruction for school year 2021-2022.
Okay. Motion has been made by Ms. Mellon, seconded by Mr. Lara, that the board adopt the superintendent's recommendation that we return to in-person instruction for the school year 2021-22. Is that correct, how you stated? Is there any other questions or discussion? Ms. Kravitz?
I do have a question that was posed to me a few times throughout the community today, which is, will we require vaccines for children to come back?
We did not have any plans for that, and the governor has made that abundantly clear in his order that we will not be requiring vaccine of anyone. But we are only in person or YODA.
Thank you. I just wanted to ask that.
Thank you for that.
Is there any further questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next item, item 6.6, consideration to approve the revised intergovernmental agreement between the County of Yuma, the Yuma County Recorder, and the Yuma Union High School District for the provision of election services for the calendar years 2021 through 25. It is recommended the governing board approve the revised intergovernmental agreement between the County of Yuma, the Yuma County Recorder, and the Yuma Union High School, I assume that's district, for the provision of election services for the calendar years 2021 through 2025. Is there a motion?
So move.
Laura? Motion made by Mr. Gonzalez and seconded by Mr. Lara to approve the revised intergovernmental agreement between the County of Yuma, the Yuma County County Recorder of the Yuma Union High School District for the provision of election services for calendar years 2021, 2025. Ms. Thompson, would you like to expand on that, Lenny?
I would like to ask Mr. Brianza to expand on this.
Thank you. I just want to thank the board for approving this IGA last board meeting in June, and really appreciate Tiffany Anderson's patience as well with the Yuma County Recorder's Office. But there is a slight hiccup with calendar year versus fiscal year. So for us to align and not have a situation where there may be a special election that runs into fiscal versus calendar years, we want to align it with the calendar year only. And right now, as a board, the recommendation I wrote for you in June was for fiscal year, but we really need to have it as a calendar year.
Any questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.7, consideration to approve the agreement to provide meal service to Educational Opportunity Center. It is recommended that the governing board approve the agreement between Educational Opportunity Center and the Yuma Union High School District number 70 for meal service for the 2021-22 school year. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the agreement to provide meal service to Educational Opportunity Center.
I second that.
There you go. Broke the chain. The motion has been made by Ms. Mellon, second by Mr. Gonzalez, that the governing board approve the agreement between the Education Opportunity Center and the Yuma Union High School District number 70 for meal service for the 2021-22 school year. Ms. Thompson, Mr. Brienza, would you like to add anything?
We have a very strong relationship with Educational Opportunity Center, also known as YPIC, providing meal services. Meals are actually provided or prepared at Cibola High School, and it's just off of 16th Street near Ronald Reagan, so it's a short commute, and we've been doing this. I think this will be our 13th year if the governing board approves it. It's not something that we necessarily make money on, but we don't lose money either. It's a service to the community, and a lot of those students there is every student because they come and go from our school districts as well. So it's a recommendation that the governing board approve the IGA. I'm sorry, the agreement, not IGA.
Mr. Gonzalez.
How long have we been doing that?
This will be the 13th year if approved.
Wow.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.8, consideration to approve the revised 2021-22 compensation packet. It is recommended that the governing board approve the revised compensation packet for the 2021-22 fiscal year for the changes noted above. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the revised compensation packet for the 2021-2022 fiscal year for the changes that were noted in our packet.
Such enthusiasm. Motion has been made by Ms. Kravitz, seconded by Mr. Lara, to approve the revised compensation packet for the 2021-22 fiscal year for the changes noted above. Ms. Thompson, do you have any comments?
We tried to bullet them out for you in the packet because it's such a long document. Obviously, it's a living document because we do bring it to you regularly. And that is because we're always refining our system as well as meeting with our different committees. I would like to say, and you can see about removing sunsetting programs, et cetera. I'm excited about that because it's our commitment to restructure our district as appropriate. You have been very gracious in hearing our needs as we change positions and add leadership positions, but I hope that you can see that we also are sunsetting other positions, so being fiscally responsible as well, that we are just trying to be very refined and systematic in our approach, and we aren't just adding and not deleting, if you will. We are changing and keeping up with our needs of our students and our staff through our positions. And so that's why you'll see things being sunset.
Any questions or comments?
I have one.
Ms. Kravitz?
I'm sorry. I had two questions, actually. One is a comment. Thank you for bringing this living document to us. It's one of my favorite things to approve, is the revised compensation packet. But my question is, why was it necessary to go from 2,000 a year to 1,000 a semester, or from 1,000 a year to 500 a semester?
Oh, on SEI and CTE? Ms. Anderson or Ms. Cordery, do you want to address those?
I just was curious why.
Looks
why
like
that was
Mr. Brienza
necessary.
drew the short straw.
Oh.
I know, they're both looking at me, so this is where Diane tests if I listen to her
Oh,
correctly.
this is our quiz. So Mrs.
correct
Mrs.
me.
Kravitz is a part of the quiz.
This way the payment's made each semester as opposed to at the end of the year.
Oh, so it's easier for the people that are receiving it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And in some cases, there's a rubric that has to be followed for them to qualify for that money, so it's by semester.
Thank you for the explanation.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 6.9. Consideration to approve the Career Connected Pathways Education Research and Innovation Partnership Agreement. It is recommended that the governing board approve the Career Connected Pathways Education Research and Innovation Partnership Agreement. Is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, approve the Career Connected Pathways Education Research and Innovation Partnership Agreement.
I second that.
Motion made by Ms. Mellon, seconded by Mr. Gonzalez to approve the Career Connected Pathways Education Research and Innovation Partnership Agreement. Ms. Thompson, Ms. Anderson, we had a presentation. Is there anything you want to add?
I just wanted to call attention. I think words matter. I loved the thought that this is theory of action. So often in education, sometimes things stay in the theory stage, and that's part of the reason why we're very proud to partner with CFA, because outcomes are what's important, not just talk. And I appreciate Mr. Sharp taking on the role. Please note that there is a term that this does end 2024. So we expect action and outcomes in a relatively short period of time when you're looking at this type of agreement. And we also, once again, appreciate the investment in our district.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 6.10, consideration to adopt the school budget for 2021-22. It is recommended the governing board adopt the school district budget for 2021-22. You know, this is one of the two things we're mandated by law to do. Hire the superintendent and adopt the budgets. So is there a motion?
I move that we, the governing board, adopt the school district budget for 2021-2022.
Motion made by Ms. Kravitz, seconded by Mr. Lotta to adopt the school district budget for 2021-22. Ms. Cordery's already moving to the podium.
Well, I will spare you going through line by line of this budget, but so we're looking at the packet that you have before you. We did go through it in pretty good detail on June 30th at that board meeting, so I'll just hit the highlights of what's in this budget. Again, it is not a true budget because at the time that we proposed this, we didn't have a budget that was passed by the legislature at that time. So we will have a truer budget in September when we bring back the revision at that point. But for right now, we have the M&O has decreased by $2.5 million, and the reason for that is because our carryover, we're very conservative, and we don't have an exact dollar amount on that at this point. We will have that again when we do the revision, or pretty close at that point. The other thing that I would touch on is our capital has increased by $3.2 million for the exact same reason, due to carryover and being very conservative with that. These numbers for this budget are based off of our student count from last year, so we anticipate that hopefully our numbers will grow to some extent. So again, our budget will grow with that as well. Probably the most significant thing that I want to point out is our adjacent ways. We are recommending to increase our tax levy for $1.5 million. We know now that for Somerton, we have an estimate of $5.2 million that will be needed for adjacent ways for that entire project. We currently have approximately 3.5 of that, or we will have after this levy. The one thing I would want to tell you is we have been levying $800,000 every year. So this 1.5 is an actual increase of $700,000. So it's not like we're just totally taking $1.5 million and adding that to the tax roll. And it will increase, as you may have seen in the paper, the potential increase will be $12.73 per $100,000 valuation. But of that, $7.05 of that has already been levied every year because of the $800,000 that we've been levying. So the increase is right at $5, a little over $5 per 100,000. Any questions that I can answer based on the information that you have?
You're always such a good explainer.
Any questions or comments? Thank you, Diane.
All right.
Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Our next meeting of the board, we have a special meeting at noon, Tuesday, July 27th in the Professional Services Building that's here. I believe we also will be able to Zoom in, or if we need
Yes,
to.
it's a very short meeting. The purpose is personnel, since our new teachers start the next day. So we are hoping to support the campus work by with any late hires.
And then our next regular board meeting is Wednesday, August 11th, 2021, 5:15, right here. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I second that.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Mr. Lara, motion carries. Also, we have some things to sign, so board members don't leave.